Hello guys, welcome back. Thank you for staying up. I'm TY, the person in charge for hybrid IT track. So if you are new to this track, welcome. And if you're just joining this event just now, welcome to Work From Home 2020 event. So we will have a lunch and learn session soon. And if you are taking meals at the moment, please bear with us and enjoy the session during your meals. So our next speakers will share to you about Microsoft HCI and Azure by Mr. Kenny Chu and Mr. Tai from Vietnam. So let's give a round of applause to both of the speakers, and over to you, Mr. Tai.
Hi, Ty. You can get started.
Hi guys, hi guys. Okay, hope you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen now, Kenny.
Sure. Hi, welcome everyone to this Lunch and Learn session. I have titled our session Azure Stack HCI and Azure Cloud, Hybrid is the Way. As this session will be focusing on the hybrid cloud capabilities of Azure Stack HCI solution. Okay, my name is Kenny, based out in Malaysia, and I'm joined by my good friend Diep, based out in Vietnam. All right. Just a little bit about us. I'm Kenny Chu. I'm from Malaysia. I come with 10 years of pre-sales and solution selling experience in the IT industry with strong foundations and focus on virtualization, HCI, and cloud computing solutions. Okay, maybe I'll just let my counterpart Tai to actually introduce himself.
Thank you, Kenny. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Ty. I have around 16 years about working with Microsoft technologies and specialize in virtualization, System Center, and Azure Stack HCI and Azure Cloud. It's very proud for me to join with you this session. Nice to meet all of you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Tai. Okay, just a brief mention regarding our main sponsors for this Work From Home 2020 event, which is HPE. Okay, HPE has one of the broadest range of service models for Azure Stack HCI, up to 9 different models to be exact, and to reiterate, all of which are validated Azure Stack for Azure Stack HCI. Okay, to add on to that is that there are also 14 different configurations that support JBOD, which stands for just a bunch of these, to extend storage capacity without adding nodes or compute. And this is very unique to HP, as they are probably the only one out there who is making this configuration available, options available. Okay. To add on to that as well, security is also one of the core priority of HP. Okay, HP claims the world's most secure server in the world by third-party penetration testing, and they are the only one server that are manufactured that has something we call a cyber catalyst designation. Okay, what this designation basically means is that insurance company agree that it's cheaper to buy insurance against cyber attacks if you are using HPE servers, because the servers are so secure and the risk of cyber attacks is much lower if you're using HPE servers. And how this is possible is due to their engineering innovations, such as a silicon root of trust, which creates a digital fingerprint in the silicon and ensures the server will never boot with compromised firmware. And also their firmware threat detection, which allows for automatic recovery of essential firmware that when compromise detected, so we can easily just recover from it if anything goes wrong. All right, so this is something when you think about HP, think about broadest range as well, think about security. Okay, moving on from this is that for this session, my goal is to cover a couple of key things. Firstly, what is Azure Stack HCI and what actually comprises our solution. And at a very high level, how does it work? Secondly, how do you manage it and the best tool to go about managing it? All right. And thirdly, on how the on-premise infrastructure such as Azure Stack HCI can go about leveraging to the cloud. Here, I will talk about some of the straightforward, easy to use Azure cloud services that any on-premise environment can reach out and take advantage of the many benefits of cloud while still being able to have that control of the environment staying on-premise. Okay. And lastly, I will just include a lot of demos to keep it very interesting. Okay. So coming to this, right, there's a lot of change going on right now, and there's a lot of disruption primarily driven by the cloud, changing almost every aspect of how IT works. Microsoft are committed to meeting customers where they are, and they understand that means some things are just going to run in the public cloud and other things are going to run on-premise. You can't just have 100% all the other way around, okay? Most of the things is a hybrid solution. That's why Microsoft understands that hybrid is the way to go in the future as they strive to allow users to get the best out of both worlds. With that, that's why Microsoft has this Azure Stack portfolio of products from Azure Stack Edge, HCI to Azure Stack Hub. Azure Stack Edge, to just start these things off, is a cloud managed appliance. You literally go to Azure portal to go and buy one and ships to you from Microsoft with Microsoft hardware. And there's no minimum commitment. This is something unique to this and it's quite interesting. And you pay for it on a month-to-month basis. It ships to you literally with a return address. And when you don't need it, just ship it back. Microsoft terms this as a Azure Stack Edge as a hardware as a service that is managed from the cloud. Moving on from there is Azure Stack HCI. It's a Microsoft hyperconverged solution. And this section, we will focus mainly on this device. Therefore, I will get back to this shortly. Finally, is Azure Stack Hub. It's a local instance of Azure in your data center. It runs a local instance of Azure Resource Manager. You get a local instance of Azure Portal, and you can run most of the capabilities for Azure Cloud locally, and ultimately enabling you to build your own private cloud powered by Azure. Obviously, to deliver this, it has a higher footprint and has a higher starting price, but really the capabilities are unmatched as no one out there is actually doing this, okay? And this is the Microsoft portfolio of Azure from Edge all the way to Hub. And today we will mainly be talking about Azure Stack HCI. So let's get on with that. Microsoft Azure Stack HCI is a hyper-converged solution. I'm sure you guys have heard of this term, right? Hyper-converged HCI, right? And it's something that everyone has been talking about year after year, and is slowly gaining a lot of traction, and it's easy to see why, because it's so exciting and so important, because it's a very innovative development in the tech world. Okay, let's just see this. All right, we have been seeing this change, right, across a lot of different countries or across all the verticals, right? Organizations are really moving from what we term as a legacy three-tier architecture, the traditional way, towards a more consolidated hyper-converged infrastructure. All right, this is where you have the industry standard x86 servers that brings you their own storage. The local drives are all put into software-defined storage. There's no need for any SAN or NAS. And where network appliances, things like load balancers are being replaced with the virtual appliances that run on those servers. Basically, it's been hosted by the software-defined networking pieces. All right. The advantages are obvious. With smaller footprint, and you save money and it's easier to operate, and that's why hyperconverged is fast becoming one of the leading trends, as well as the normal way where people deploy their servers on premise. And the numbers are there to prove. When you ask an organization which embarking on a data center modernization, 54%, a lot of them sees HCI to be among their most significant investment priorities in the next 12 to 18 months. Okay, and it's reflected in all these numbers, right? When you see the spending of HCI year-on-year growth, and it's been really growing up. Okay, so what is Azure Stack HCI and what all these things is about? Okay, let's now dive into what the technology stack is comprises of. Firstly, it's a solution that combines four things. First, a validated hardware from industry partners. tested and verified hardware from your favorite OEM partner. Okay, on that hardware, you install a Windows Server 2019. With this, it includes everything you need for hyperconverged infrastructure. So that's Hyper-V, storage spaces direct, and software-defined networking. And all those technologies are best managed through Windows Admin Center. This has been a tool that Microsoft have been investing heavily to building a good management experience to handle all these components. And my good friend, Mr. Tai, will actually bring you to a demo to show you more about this Windows Admin Center later. And using Windows Admin Center, you can connect to Azure Cloud and other Azure hybrid services. And these are the services that run in Azure, but you can connect down to on-premise to enable you to do things that you otherwise cannot do. That's why the hybridity of it all, okay? All right. So just to start all things off, you can start quite small. Minimum requirement is just 2 servers, really lightweight, which is perfect for small, medium organization. However, you can also really scale from there, going up the way to a very large deployment, up to 16 servers per cluster, packed with petabytes of storage. And it's a slimless, which means you can add additional drives and the existing or add additional servers in the cluster. And it's a seamless scale architecture, which even as you add more servers and add more hard disks, it doesn't. It will just grow, and it will not affect any of those maintenance windows that you have. Okay, with the very high availability built in, as well as storage load balancing. Okay, so you can also kind of like ask, right? Like now you may wonder, how is this different from just running any Hyper-V host, right? It's just because basically it's running on Hyper-V. So why is it different, right? Well, there's sort of 2 big pieces there. First is the software-defined storage to replicate the writes that you do to multiple locations, and the VHDX file from the VM will be distributed across servers. This means it can tolerate things like server failure or drive failure, even though you don't actually have any shared storage on no SAN or no NAS. Okay. Second piece is, well, if a physical server fails, the VMs can automatically move or fail over to another machine, and will still have access to its storage due to the software-defined storage provided by the HCI piece. Okay, this is quite interesting. All right, and moving on from there, the key point is that everything you need to know and what I just said, right, is included in Windows Data Center Server. Okay, it's all within the Windows 2019 Data Center Server license that if you purchase them. Going from hypervisor, software-defined storage, software-defined networking, management, as long as you have the license for this data center, it's all included in the package. So if you have a volume license, or you probably already own this and you can actually deploy it, all right. If not, you can get all these from OEM license, and which makes it really easy to get started. Now, once you deploy the HCI, I would also like to emphasize that the platform do not lock down or constrain users to the Windows platform, because Windows Hyper-V, people might think that if you only can run Windows machine on this. No, they also support a large number of Linux distributions and things like that, right? So just think of it as a general purpose computing infrastructure on which you can have any app that you want, be it on Windows or Linux. And also, you can use any capable tool. You're the administrator, you can use Windows Admin Center. If you have, you're very familiar with Windows PowerShell, you may use it to automate things. And if you want a System Center, you have a large deployment that you want to integrate with, you can use System Center to manage any way you want it, however way you want it, okay? Next, I'll move on to something called Windows Admin Center. It's something new, and it's mainly, one of the key things is free, okay? The cost, there's no additional cost beyond Windows. All right, you just need to install it on Windows and you can run it. My friend here, Tai, will actually talk you through about a lot more about how the whole Windows Admin Center will look like. Going from there, what it is actually a core management tools. You can see a lot of performance monitoring, packet monitoring, server call management, and also a server role management, which is you can manage Hyper-V VMs, you can manage clusters, you can manage Azure Stack HCI, as well as even deploy Azure Stack HCI on or using only Windows Admin Center. And lastly, is built for hybrid. It's you can integrate many different Azure stack, Azure cloud services such as a security center, Azure file sync, Azure backup, all within this Windows Admin Center. Okay, next I will move on to let my counterpart Ty to actually demo how managing Azure Stack HCI with Windows Admin Center. In this demo, he will talk about Windows Admin Center overview, Azure hybrid services, managing Azure Stack HCI cluster, as well as the interesting thing with integrating HPE Azure Stack HCI with this extension. Okay, I'm going to pass this time over to Ty. Okay, Ty, over to you.
Thank you, Kenny. May I share my desktop, please? Okay. Okay, and now I hope you can see my desktop now, Kenny.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, so as you can see, this is our Windows Admin Center where I can manage on the node within my on-premise, as well as the cluster. And from this console, I can also manage the other Windows Server workstation, and other cluster, as well as the Azure VM. So from this one, I can connect to my my Azure account, and then I can select where I have the VM, select the machine that I want to manage, and then as you can see, they have a both private IP address and public IP address, and I can choose this one. And just few minutes, not few minutes, right? That's less than 1 minute, and then you can have the Azure VM in this Windows Admin Center, and then you can connect to this one. Use your own domain if you have integrated this one with the Azure ID, or you can use the local one. So I can connect to the virtual machine, the VM hosted on the Azure environment, and you can see from this console I can restart the server, shut down the server. I can see the current versions of the this VM and the RAM, the uptime. For this system, I turned this on 5 hours ago, and currently they have the Windows Defender is on. I can monitor the CPU, the utilization of the CPU, the speed, and the memory utilization, as well as the Ethernet, the disk 0, disk 1, and all the disks that currently have on this server. This is the overview. From this one, you can see they also have Azure hybrid service, Azure backup, file syncs, Azure monitor, which my friend Kenny will give you more detail about how to set up this one and how to configure it later. And what I most like on this Windows Admin Center is they keep updating. If you don't download it, and if you did not track for it, then you will surprised because they release many new features. Okay, from this main console, I will go to the S2D cluster. This is the main console where you will manage everything. First of all, this is the dashboard, and in this dashboard is enough for you to get the information of your cluster. As you can see, if there are any issues with your server, it will display here. There is one alert on the server node 1, and the physical memory is over than 50% of utilization. Okay, we have a totally 2 server, and one got the critical. Actually, you can click on the alert here, and you can see more detail. And they also give you some suggestion, so that based on this one, you can have some basic troubleshooting. For example, remove this one, or maybe add more memory. And from here, you can go to the server, and do the troubleshooting from there. Back to the dashboard, we can have an overview of number of the server in the node, number of the drive that we have, their status as well, number of the virtual machine, number of the volume that this cluster already have, and we will have the CPU uses, the memory uses, the storage uses, and for example, we already used 264, and we still have a 2.2 TB later. And I think the most important is you can have an overview about the cluster performance for hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, and even for the whole years. And I think by using this cluster performance, you can track the trend of your IOPS, of your latency, and your performance of your cluster. And it's very important for you to predict it and have relevant actions. Okay, that is the dashboard. When I move from the left and move down, you can see we have a compute where they list on of the virtual machine that's currently this node control. You can have an overview, a summary of all of the VM status. Okay, you can see whether they have issues or not. You can view all of the events happen to your Hyper-V by check the event logs here. You can see the high availability. If there are any issues, you can also check here. And yeah, you don't need to go to the Windows server, open the events viewer to see it. This is the events, and that's pretty enough for you to do the troubleshooting. As an administrator, and this one is very useful for me. I can monitor on of the virtual machine within one unit console. I can see how many percentage of CPU uses for on of this virtual machine, total number of the CPU uses, the memory, the host memory, the guest memory. You can see, yeah, and the performance again. We have the whole year's performance monitor, and we have a real-time performance monitor for the current IOPS, the current latency, the throughput. Yeah, and remember, this is free. And honestly, it took me 5 minutes to install this tool. I don't need to configure anything. Yeah, it's very awesome. Straightforward. We also have a server inventory, right? We can have a server. How long is up time, the current status, the serial number, the model. And from this one, you can click on each node on that cluster, and you can jump to that server. You can do a restart, shutdown. You can see all of the information that you want. Beside that, we have the storage, where you can have an overview of your total volumes, their status as well. And in the inventory, you can see, okay, we have a 4 cluster, and we have we can see the storage uses. Yeah, and you can jump to any volume that you want. Besides that, we can also have an overview of all of our drive that we have in this console. Okay, as you can see here, we have 13 disks. There are some HDD, some SSD, some US cache, some US capacity. And whenever they have any issue here, you can jump in and you can check the status, and you can get the serial number, the model, so that it's very easy for you to replace with the correct one. One of thing that I really excited to introduce you, that is the HP Azure Stack HCI. They have just released this one recently, and from this one you can have a server model. For this demo, we use a HP DL 385 Zen 10. We have a 2 node, both of them use Windows Server 2019 data center, and you can see this is very important for me as a system administrator. We have a totally 13 disks, and 4 disks are used as cache, and other disks are used as the capacity. And we can see the rater here for night. We can also see the number of cache that we currently have compared with the capacity. Okay, and the next one is the inventory, where we can have a very detailed about the current firmware version of the current node. And from this one, we have we can access to the ILO of that server. This is very important because sometimes I do the patching for on of the server, on of the physical server, and I got the issue with what is the IP address of that physical server. And this console helps me to consolidate on of everything. It's very useful. And from here, you can see if I have the latest firmware or not. For example, for this one, for the ILO, I already have, but for the system ROM, yeah, I need to update it. And I hope maybe in the next few months, HPE will update this one so that whenever I click on this one, I can get the latest firmware, download it, and then I can install it. Okay. For the storage manager, what I like is they very informative. I can see all of my node storage here, and whenever I have a trouble with my storage, I can locate it by highlighting this one. You can see, yeah. So this will reduce the chance for you to replace the wrong one, the skidding. Okay. Last but not least, we can control the setting of the whole cluster by maybe you can change the number of in-memory cache that you want from 1 to 10 to 100. You can change the name of your storage pool. You can change the name of the storage space direct. You can configure it to do the cache mode for read only or read write only or read and write. You can change this one. Normally, I think back a few months ago, whenever I want to change this setting, I need to use the PowerShell. Now I don't need to use PowerShell anymore. Yeah, you can combine, but from this UI, I have almost everything, so PowerShell is not needed anymore for me, at least. Okay, I think that is most of the interesting part of this one. For the hybrid one, maybe my friend Kenny will help you to discover more about Azure Monitor, using Azure Update Management, Diagnostic, and Performance Monitor.
Sure.
Okay. Over to you, Kenny. Yep.
Okay. Let me share my deck. All right. Okay. You guys can hear me? All right. So I have just now, thank you for Ty for talking about how the managing it with Azure HCI. So now I'm going to talk a bit about how an on-premise infrastructure can leverage to the cloud, and I'm going to show a bit of a demo. All right, so Windows Admin Center, as you can see here, is your bridge to the cloud, right? You can actually discover Azure services and bring you value to your environment. Automatically set it up a lot of the services within clicks, right? And Windows is all about clicking and giving you a GUI and everything to work with to make it a seamless transition to the Azure portal. All right, this is just a reiteration of the Windows Admin Center. Okay, let's start off with integrating with WFH with Azure Cloud. Normally, I can show this to you, but because I've already integrated and registered it, I'm going to show you some of the screenshots on how easy it is to connect your Windows Admin Center to the Azure Cloud. All right. So one of these is that the first screen you will see is that it will ask you to register with Azure. Okay. Once you've done that, you will see here they give you all the step-by-step from copy this code, enter the code, and connect your Azure Active Directory to it. All of it is listed down easily for you to just follow, and just take you 1 minute to actually just to connect to it, as long as you have the Azure account ready. Okay. From there, you sign into your Windows Admin Center to Azure Cloud using Windows Admin Center, and you actually be prompted to grant a permission in Azure. You can see there. So once you do that, you actually go to Azure portal and you just grant your admin consent for default directory. Once you've done that, you have successfully granted, you're actually officially connected to the using WAC to Azure. Okay. Some of the services that I will share about today is listed here. If time permits, I will show as much as I can, but I will be talking about Azure Backup, Azure File Sync, Azure Update Management, as well as Azure Monitor. Okay, I will jump straight into the demo to it. Okay, just bear with me as I switch to a screen. Let me see. Can you guys see my screen? No. Maybe not.
I can see your slide.
Okay, I will share. Yes. Okay, guys. All right. So over here, you can see here I have a server. Just a normal server, is a file server, and haven't set up backup yet. All right. So Azure Backup allows you to actually easily set up a backup and easily back it up, and especially integrate all this backup into a central location Azure in the Azure cloud. This is especially useful for environments where you have different small little environments in a small data center, and also you have virtual machines in the public cloud as well. So this Azure Backup can actually integrate all this in one place, and especially when it doesn't make sense for you to have a full-on backup infrastructure on premise. Okay, so to set up Azure Backup, you're just gonna go through here, and once you have actually connected all the Azure cloud services, you actually prompt you to give you all this step by step. And when I say easy, it's already just literally just step 1, step 2, step 3 to actually back it all up. All right, firstly is connected to Azure Backup, and then after that you have to see whether your subscription ID and all these things, you just have to choose them, and from here you select your backup items and schedule. You can select system state, you can select your C drive, your E drive to backup, and they'll tell you roughly how much it will take up. And you choose your file and folder to schedule and system states to schedule. And over here, the step 4 is you need to enter an encryption passphrase. This is important. When you want to restore, they will ask for this passphrase. Okay. In the view of time, I have already set up. This is just to show you how it looks like to set up. But on this server here, I've already set up Azure Backup. And once you click on Azure Backup here, you can see here all the little Azure things that comes up, right? They show you the next scheduled backup, your subscription, your backup policy, all the jobs and your recovery points that you have here, right? All in one, easy to see. And you also can trigger, you want to backup now, stop backup or refresh, or even delete backup data. So everything is very easy. And you can see here, it actually points you to where your recovery service vault is. So the recovery service vault is actually an Azure system that actually integrates or actually collect all your different backups as well as your site recovery VMs that you have. Such as backup items, replicated items, site recovery items. So it's a very consolidated place to see all your recovery data. All right. So over here, you can see here, I've already done some backup here, and you can have a backup item here, and I can see here all the backup items that when was the last success and last backup time and things like that. All right. So that is a quite easy to use, all in one consolidated place. All right. To move on from there is that you have how do you actually do a restore, right? I'm going to run through. This is a restore from my normal server, and you don't need to actually go to that server to restore it. So just to recover data is that you need to go to click in, just put in your vault credentials, right? And you can restore basically anything that is in your vault, right? So you can see here WinApp19 and all these kind of things is already here. So I have done my backup already. Here, I just need to click on, oh yeah, you need to have a passphrase. Okay, I forgot. So over here, you can see here a passphrase. That's why that's important. When you actually initially set it up, you need to put in a passphrase. If you forgot the passphrase, you can't recover it. Okay. So over here, you can see individual files and data mount. How do you mount things like that? So I want to recover individual files and folders. From here, I want to recover the volume, and all I need to do is just mount it. All right, this will take about 10, 20, 30 seconds. Just wait for a quick while, and then you should be able to see the mount it. This is interesting because I can just literally recover any data from anywhere from that is located in my recovery service vault. Okay, just wait a few seconds here. It should come up to.
I have an idea, Kenny. Why it's running? Why don't we introduce all the service that we
interacted
with?
I will go on and talk about Azure file sync next. Okay. Let's see if it doesn't come out. Okay. Oh, actually, it's up. All right. So what you do is that once it's done, you can just browse the files that you want to restore, and you can easily just pull it into your say your anything that you want. This is the recovered data. Okay, so for example, you can just see I have some downloads here. Okay, I don't have any files, but yeah, basically you can just drag and drop and I put it in the desktop. Okay, so this is so easy to actually recover, right? And once you're done recovering it, you can just unmount it and you'll be back to normal. All right, so this is Azure backup. Next, I want to talk to you about something called Azure file sync. All right, so let me just go to something like this. All right, this is my file server based out in Kuala Lumpur. Okay, I have some files here, which have some finance, HR, marketing things, right? And I would like to actually have a place where I can actually have a DR to store all my file servers to be uploaded to the cloud. How do I easily do that, right? So with file sync, you can easily do that. Okay, so I have this and I've already set this up. What happens is that let's see. What happens is that over here, I have so backup. Over here is actually my file sync file share, right? Okay, and you can see here is a mimic to the same file server, and I have uploaded everything. So if I were to go on to actually just maybe create a new folder or create a new file here, right? Maybe a new folder, IT projects. You will actually automatically, when you say sync, right, you automatically sync to the cloud. This is the cloud version. All right, let me just refresh it. And you can see I have IT projects here. All right, so this is easily already you've done a kind of like another copy of your file servers uploaded. And interestingly, this you can actually tier it, right? You can have some of it on the cloud and some of it on premise. Especially you can say I want 30 days of data to be the last 30 days of access data to be on premise, and anything else I want to move it on cloud. So let me show you. If let's just say I have another file server over here, which is based out in Ho Chi Minh City, which is where my friend Thai is located. All right, I have here over here I have a file sync folder here. Nothing is here. This hasn't been set up yet. Okay, I'm going to right now go and set up a file server. Okay, server endpoint. I'm just going to add a server endpoint to it, and let's just go to file server 2. Okay, I'm going to specify the location, the file sync 2. Okay, and over here you can see here you can do a cloud tiering. Once I enable it, I can say that I want to make sure that all the time I have 50% of free space available. That's why anything else, please upload it to the cloud. As well as the date policy. Only cache date files that were accessed or modified within the specified number of days. So I just want to say, I just want to go with 30 days. All right. So with this, right, you can actually, I will just create this easily. What happens now is that you actually create that file sync, and let's see how fast it will actually go. It should be pretty fast. Okay, so now I've already created an endpoint to that file server based out in Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, over here you can see here Ho Chi Minh City. I have nothing yet. And how long do you think you can actually sync, right? Depending on how much data. But if it's just a small data, I can just refresh it, and let's just say let it sync, right? Oh, here you go. It's already here. So I can see here, finance, HR, IT, projects, marketing, all has been synced to my location in Ho Chi Minh City, my file server. So now you can have a one consolidated place, right, where you can have a one centralized location of file servers available. What if I were to create a new folder one, okay, and let me go to my file server one, and I create a new folder 2. Once I refresh, let's see a new folder 1. You just take some time to refresh. There you go. So now I can see new folder 1 and new folder 2, and both location is already been synced up. So isn't it exciting? You can easily just do this, and within what you can actually have a file syncing solution within all across the different locations, right? So remember, this is a file server based on Kuala Lumpur, and the other is a file server based out in Vietnam. And you can all this also is synced to the cloud. So everyone can use a centralized location. All right. I think time doesn't permit me to go on with a lot of other things, but this is just a few demos that I can show you that how easy it is to use Azure Cloud Services to integrate it to on-premise. Okay. Let me just run through some of the things here. I would, and okay. Let me share my last. All right. So just to end it after my demo, just to reiterate, get started with Azure Stack HCI, find your solution partner from a private vendor, go with HPE if it's possible, because they have a lot of solutions that is available, that is very innovative solutions there. Install Windows Server 2019 and deploy and manage everything through Windows Admin Center. So if you to get more information, visit all these links, and the slides will be shared out later after the event. Okay. Thank you very much. I will pass over to the MC to take over for the next session.